We'll call the City Council special meeting to order. I'll say, Mr. Buds, if you would call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Germaini?
Present.
Lamore?
Present.
Councilman Felder?
Present. Present.
Councilman Vining?
Here.
Councilwoman Whitman?
Excused. Present. And ask we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have a special meeting here this evening. There's some items that are looking for council action, other items that will be reviewed for no action, but a review leading as we get into our meeting next week, our regular scheduled meeting. But for this special meeting, Mr. Pastu, I'll go right to you to kind of give the introduction and the review.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate everyone being here. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate everyone coming tonight and kind of an off night. We have a lot of things going and obviously a busy work session scheduled for Monday and regular meeting as well. So, but the timing with some of these items tonight related to the early retirement aspects and agreement for a public safety director position is, I think, timely. So if I may, Your Honor, just start with the first one.
Yeah, I think we'll start through. We have, the first time is 3318.
Yep. Well, thank you. Tonight's special meeting, it involves implementation of two council actions. The first involving the public safety operational plan that was adopted in July, and the second relates to the council's 2021 goals and objectives related to succession planning. Some of the items we'll talk about tonight are definitely tied with those two prior actions with the council. Tonight, there's two items that I'm going to be asking council to take action on. One is the approval of an employment agreement with Chad Tolsted as Public Safety Director. And the second is a ratification of memorandums of understanding or agreement with the voluntary early retirement incentives for the Monroe Firefighters Association, Police Officers Association of Michigan, and Command Officers. As we proceed through that, then there's three items that related going on the rest of the meeting dealing with review. One is the 2001 early retirement incentives for both police and fire chiefs, along with non-union personnel. A resolution regarding voluntary early retirement incentives, along with separation and release agreements for both police and fire chiefs, and resolution regarding 2021 early retirement for non-union employees. So as we go through all of those tonight, they're all somewhat related, but tie back to actions related to the public safety operational plan and the succession planning that's been discussed in the past, and certainly through the Personnel Committee. So if I may start with the first one then, Your Honor. Thank you. Back in the spring, Fitch completed a study containing a recommendation to establish a public safety director. Actually, it goes back to the preceding year that would oversee both police and fire operations, along with a unified command structure. During the process, it was discussed to bring someone from the outside into this role. And after some consideration, I discussed with many the merits of an internal candidate that would save a search process that would take somewhere in the order of 5-6 months, and then several months for an outside director to assess the current issues. The reorganization, in which there's reductions in both police and fire personnel, is already stressful enough. A year more of uncertainty regarding an outside director would certainly contribute more to that anxiety. And so to that extent, after some discussions with council, I'm recommending tonight the City Council approve a recommendation of Chad Tolsted as the Public Safety Director. He is a known commodity that possesses professional skill sets and a temperament to serve effectively as the Director of Public Safety, especially during these challenging times. I throw that out there for comment. I can go into detail related to the big ticket items associated with the terms of the employment agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Pastor. I'll see if there's any questions from council members as we, on this particular item.
I could.
If we can just see if there's any additional comments. We've had opportunity through work sessions, discussions with council. Of course, the agreement may be some points in there that they wish to have, and then we'll move forward. I'll keep you as we move forward. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Michelangelo?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. This is, I think we've talked about this at least in the Personnel Committee. The salary compensation for Mr. Tolsted is established in the agreement. And I think one of the things that we had talked about is the compensation agreement for the other department heads, administrative department heads, going to be reevaluated based on this?
Yes, the entire, based on our discussion from a couple of weeks ago, I think, that we've talked about doing a reassessment of all of the non-union department head-related positions and where they fall as far as compensation relative to other communities. And then even, if you will, where council wants to have as far as a policy matter, as, do you want to be in the 50th percentile, 60, 65, something like that. So we'll structure it so that you've got some information and data regarding comparables that would hope facilitate that policy discussion and consideration for council.
Is that going to be done by Notley?
I haven't given either Notley or, he's very reliable and does a good job, but we also have another consultant that we use as well that could easily do the same work. So we got a couple alternatives.
Okay. That's the question I had, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Other questions from councilmen regarding the employment agreement or presentation?
Just a comment, Your Honor, to the audience that the agreement was evaluated and reviewed by the Personnel Committee,
Yes,
which
thank
is yourself and Michelle and myself. So we've had an opportunity to review it in advance.
That's correct. Councilman Michelangelo, Councilman Germani, and myself, and had the opportunity to have some of that conversation. So I appreciate the councilman bringing up the discussion regarding our other employees, unrepresented employees in those positions as a follow-up discussion as we set or reset, if you want to say, how do we look across the employee base for this level of employment. Thanks. If there's no other questions, Councilman Moore?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment agreement with Captain Chad J. Tolsted for the Public Safety Director position.
Support.
So motion by Councilman Moore, supported by Councilman Michelangelo on item 3318, approve the employment agreement with Chad J. Tolsted for the Public Safety Director position.
Councilwoman Germain,
Yes.
Councilman Lamore,
Yes.
Councilman Felder,
Yes.
Councilman Michelangelo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vining,
Yeah.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Congratulations, Chad, wherever you're at. Oh, there you are over there.
Just for your information, that Monday night we had scheduled, hoping that this would occur tonight, a swearing-in ceremony, oath of office, if you will, to be handled by Clerk Treasurer Michelle Lavoie.
Yeah. And I should make a comment to that because Mr. Buds is kind of sitting in, assisting as the clerk duties this evening. Clerk Treasurer Lavoie had a commitment, a family and other commitments this evening, unable to join us this evening, but has been a participant in getting this meeting scheduled, as well as discussions with the city manager and our city attorney regarding items here for tonight. So obviously we wish her well and safe travels, but thank her for her support of getting us here today to have this special meeting. Mr. Pastu?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilman Michelangelo.
Relative to this, and it's in regards to the, again, back to the Personnel Committee, but it's in regards to the job description. I know that we have some police officers here, and we also have representative from the fire department. Personnel Committee was very diligent in making sure that the job description for the public safety, the Director of Public Safety, also provided a path forward both for police and for fire. So under the preferred qualification, job knowledge and skills, it basically opens it up that the candidate for this position in the future can either come from fire, police, or from medical services. such as with experience either from the FBI National Academy or Senior Management Institute for Police, or state and nationally recognized fire staff and command programs. So we wanted to make sure that in the future, as this kind of comes together, that some of the younger leadership in the both police and fire have an opportunity to move towards consideration for public safety director in the future. So I just wanted to point that out, that I think the Personnel Committee did a pretty good job of making sure there's a path available for both police and fire in the future for the position.
Thank you, Councilman. I think that was a good discussion for the Personnel Committee and with administration, thinking of where we are currently, but we also have to make sure all of our employees look at a path that's available for advancement, whether it's be through they'll say middle supervision to the command supervision to the leadership position. And I think that there's a way to get there. I think there's many training opportunities. Councilman referred to some of those. And we also said there's things that we may not have that can be brought forward from the public safety director as a pathway for all employees within public safety of how do we move personnel forward and make them the best possible, that they levels they want to strive to be at, and we make that pathway. And it also talked about it, what maybe extending a little bit further is also how we initiate our contact with hiring was discussed. And I know that's been on council's discussion in the past as well, of whether it be community representation, full diverse opportunities and communications, and how we start to put that down at the ground level for all of our public safety opportunities to engage with the community, but also as we move forward to bring people into our workforce. So that was a topic that kind of tied to all this. We looked at it as a long-term plan of how we start and where we start and the pathway forward. So I'll stop.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. The second item that administration's requesting action from council tonight is ratification of memorandums of agreement related to voluntary early retirement incentives for the Monroe Firefighters Association, Police Officers Association of Michigan, and the Command Officers Association of Michigan. All three bargaining units have ratified this voluntary early retirement incentive. The programs as presented to all were similar. Retirement effective December 31st of this year. Pension incentive, 1 additional year accredited service. Retiree healthcare incentive, 2 additional years of credited service. Pandemic premium to active public safety employees, $2,000 for this year and $2,000 for 2020 or 21 and 20. The POM and COM have already received theirs, so they would just get $2,000. But those that have not, essentially the firefighters, if ratified, would receive $4,000. In total, both will get $4,000 either through the collective bargaining agreement and then the subsequent offer here as well. If approved tonight, all of the eligible, there's 7 of them, 4 in the between the POM and COM and 3 firefighters. They would receive a letter that's already been prepared by our Human Resources Director. Upon receiving that, there's a 45-day period by which they can consider its acceptance. And even if they accept it, there's still a 7-day window in by which they could withdraw that acceptance. So it would take place and initiate it with that. And as I mentioned, there's 3 firefighters, 4 police officers that would be eligible. It is contained and attached with the listing that you have there. Again, the labor attorney put that together so that it identified by position as opposed to names who would be eligible. In putting the whole package together for both the collective bargaining units and inclusive of the chiefs, which I'll talk after this, the total package is just a little bit under $800,000. Based on prior conversations, there would be a transfer from a reserve that was established as a result of our DTE case. If you recall that we set aside almost $2.2 million in reserve, knowing full well we're going to have to make some decisions related to restructuring the organization. So we would make the pension system whole as a result if all members or all individuals accepted the incentive that's being offered. So with that, certainly entertain any questions you might have.
Sure, we'll see if there's any questions from Mr. Bastu first. See no questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the memorandums of agreement with Fire, POAM, and COAM for their early retirement programs.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Ekalani, supported by Councilman Lamore on item 3319, the ratify memorandums of agreements with public safety and bargaining units as mentioned regarding the early retirements program. There's no further comments.
Councilwoman Germaine?
Yes.
Councilman Lamore?
Yes.
Councilman Felder?
Yes.
Councilman Angeli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vining?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Mr. Bastu, I know you have some other items that you want to review. They aren't action items, but some details that we need to kind of present here this evening in preparation for our regular council meeting on Monday.
As I proceed with this, I'm going to compliment our city attorney for working with the attorney with Dyke McGossett associated with the benefits. I don't know how many emails went back and forth to try and get this complexity resolved, but I'm greatly appreciative it was him and not me. So, but I'll run through the necessary elements of it. Is the amendment is necessary to offer the voluntary early retirement incentive for both police fire chiefs as well as eligible non-union employees. The voluntary resignation date would be December 31st of this year. The ordinance would grant the city manager the authority to offer the early retirement incentive to both the chiefs as well as the non-union employees that are eligible. It provides enhanced benefits upon voluntary resignation, along with an executed separation and a release agreement as a condition. The fire chiefs treated as if attaining the age of 50 and credited 25 years of service, along with retiree health care coverage, full coverage. Police chief treated as attaining age of 50 and 1 additional year of credited service. Non-union employees must be eligible already at this point to retire. There's 6 of them. That listing of all of the non-union employees was attached along with the ones that identified as eligible for this incentive, and they would receive 1 year of additional credit service toward the pension. As planned at this point, the first reading of the ordinance would be scheduled for this upcoming Monday, and it is on the schedule. The second one would be November 1st. Upon its adoption, the eligible employees would receive a letter from the Human Resource Department regarding the incentive. Similar to what was discussed with the bargaining units, there's 45 days to consider its acceptance, 7 days to withdraw after acceptance. And again, with this, there are 6 non-union employees that would be eligible for this consideration. At this point, any questions that you may have?
Let's see if there's any questions regarding the ordinance, the early retirement.
And if I may, Your Honor, and certainly the Personnel Committee discussions that take place, we recognize there's a number of key personnel that will be retiring, but it also goes along with some restructuring and in some cases some change in direction we think necessary associated with the retirement that will likely occur with some of these incumbents. And so that really is kind of the driver with that, is recognizing where we are in the organization with some key personnel and putting together a succession plan that will allow in the next couple of years a smooth transition for the organization.
Thank you. I see no questions. Continue, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next one is the resolution regarding a 2021 early retirement incentives for both the police and fire chief. Again, that would be presented after the ordinance has been adopted, but it does authorize the manager to offer the early incentive as well as upon execution of a separation and release agreement. identical to what was discussed in the ordinance, the terms, but each would also receive, similar to those in the bargaining unit, in total $4,000 of pandemic premium, $2,000 for 2020, $2,000, and another $2,000 for 2021. The separation and release agreements would contain a severance pay, 9 months for each of the chiefs. 6 months is a standard amount for our department heads, and 3 months additionally for to assist the public safety director in recognizing and reorganizing and the implementation of it. Both have been very gracious working with now Director Tolsted, but we think it's again important to certainly provide this package, one, to show that and recognize that they've done a great job of service for our community, that this reorganization has nothing to do with anything as far as an operational end, and we just need to show the respect and appreciation for the service that they've provided our community, but also at the same time recognize their willingness to help with a complex reorganization that would allow it to move smoothly. So, and then lastly, as I said, after the ordinance has been adopted, there would be a request to approve this resolution going forward.
I'll see if there's any questions for the city manager. No. See none. Vince, you have one more item?
Well, the last item I have is the resolution for the non-unions, again, very similar to the last one, authorizes the manager to offer early retirement incentive, again, upon execution of a separation and release agreement. The non-union personnel would receive 1 year of credited services. 6 employees would be eligible with that. Again, similar with that, I would anticipate some employment agreements temporarily for a period of time, depending on the non-union, to help and assist with the transition going forward. That would be part of a succession plan. So that would be something that could come down the road, and certainly I've enjoyed working with the personnel committee to get their insights and thoughts on these type of things. And so, but that would also only occur until after the ordinance has been adopted as planned on November 1st.
See if there's any questions. Vince, I guess, I'm sure, at least I know council, we had the discussion, and so the committee did as well, personnel committee. When these, I'll say, early retirement opportunities that present, some years past, we had a similar, because of around some other changes in healthcare and a variety of things that were offered. But there's a window of time that's based off of years of service and age, and that's why when you look at the list, but everybody that's, I'll say, has a yes that's eligible falls within that parameter that's being recognized as the selection of time, and then the employees are all included within that fall within that time frame, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess the point is, it's not that somebody's missing from there. It's not somebody that's added that didn't fall within it. The criteria was set, and then the employers will have their choice and decision whether they wish to participate or not. Okay. And that's part of that discussion after the ordinance is passed.
And it's made very clear that you have to treat uniformly everyone within those parameters. So
I just want to make sure, I think everybody recognized that, but maybe some that aren't familiar with this, and of course we are being our live here that's understood by the general public as well. It's not just, we're not selecting people. It's a time frame they fit, and everybody's treated equally. Okay.
if I might add just one last item again, I did talk about the DTE reserve that was established, that we will, if all goes forward as proposed, that we would use a portion of that reserve, not all of it, toward the funding the present value cost associated with the incentives that would go to the pension system. Regarding those that there is a need for additional credited service for the retiree health care, we would just have that incurred by the retiree health care fund. It's funded at 143% now, so there really isn't any point right now to put some additional money into it. And the pension fund is still funded very well from an actuarial standpoint. It's over 90%. And from a market value, assets to liabilities, it's like 99.9%. So, relatively speaking, we've got a very strong pension funding as well as retiree healthcare funding system, and we certainly want to maintain that quality there.
No, thank you, Vince. I think that's a great point to present for our community as well, because at times that question may come up, where are we with that? And I think we've readily said that we've, with good diligence and structure, we have well-funded plans for our employees. And of course, that should bring, I'll say, comfort to the residents knowing that that's done, but thanks for pointing that out. Other items?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
So there's no other items on our council action. Do we have Mr. Buzz?
There are no other items for council action, Your Honor. That would lead us to council comments.
Okay, we'll just go to council comments. Councilwoman Germaini.
I just want to say that there have been numerous conversations with regard to the decision for the public safety director, long and numerous for a long time. Chad, congratulations. I look forward to seeing your leadership in the position. Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Moore.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to echo that comment. Congratulations to our new Public Safety Director, Chad Tolsted. It has been a long process. Thank you for being patient with us. We really took this a long way, maybe perhaps farther than we should have, but we came down with the right decision, I believe, and I think all of us are feeling much more relieved tonight that we've finally got this done. So thank you again for your patience and congratulations. On another note, not to do with the public safety, but last night we had a little mishap with DTE again. Monroe went dark, and just wanted to say something to the city manager to see if he can seek out somebody from Edison to get us some comments as to what happened, because this has a lot to do with our future in Monroe, our infrastructure. And I can tell you that if we don't get that fixed first, anything else we do means nothing in this city. Without power, we have nothing. We have nothing to offer new people coming in, and we have nothing for the people that are here. So we need to figure out what they're doing down there, why they're doing it, and why they're not taking care of it. To say my patients are running thin with them is minor. I am very upset about the whole situation, to be honest with you. Last night was inexcusable. There were probably, 7 to 10 different times that the power went out and came back on, which everybody knows. If anybody has any appliances that's had to replace them in the past, that's basically what happens. Power goes out, power goes on, and a minute later, before you know it, it zaps the motors that are in that appliance, and you have to, as residents, replace them. So on behalf of all the residents of Monroe, we need to get this solved and figure out what's going on down there. So please, please bring them in here. I would like to question them personally as to what the heck they're doing. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Councilman Felder.
Thank you, sir. Certainly a step forward as we move forward in the public safety process. Congratulations to Public Safety Director-elect Tolsted, or until you're swearing in, I suppose. You certainly have your work cut out for you. On the September 13th meeting, during the open portion of that meeting, I made comment as I made an inquiry to the city manager as to the role, makeup, and number of the command positions and how that selection process will take place, with the request that it come before council before any final determinations are made. I just want to reiterate that as we're sitting in front of a camera now to ensure that there is a methodology that will be reviewed by council before we move forward to make decisions, because I know that the public safety director is involved in that process.
We do have a closed session planned for Monday night, of which that part will be part of the discussion.
Thank you, sir. That's all my comments for this evening. Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilman Michelangelo.
Yeah, I want to extend my congratulations to Chad, and I would also like to thank Chief McCormick for his years of service with the city of Monroe. And I want to thank the leadership of both police and fire relative to the review and the memorandums of agreement that we just approved in terms of trying to work together relative to some of the early retirement issues. So I do appreciate that from both of the all three of the bargaining units. That's all I have, Your Honor, tonight.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vining.
Yes, Your Honor. I too want to congratulate Captain Tolsted and extend my best wishes. I'll have to agree with Andrew. You do have your work cut out for you. It has been a long, tedious process, sometimes frustrating, and I wasn't even always sure if I agreed with the public safety director position, but as I said to the city manager, I think we have somebody we chose someone with a good balance. I don't hear too many bad war stories about you out on the street in your former days as a patrol officer, and I've seen you with the public and with residents and business owners and organizations, and so I do wish you the best, and hopefully you know that the council is here to support the process and the transition. Thanks to the chief for both of the chiefs for what they're going to do to help move this process forward. And I really hope and pray that this is the beginning of some healing and true camaraderie between the two departments. So thank you. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Oh, and I agree with everything Brian said about DTE. So I hope you can get him on the phone.
Yeah, I got a note to call our local rep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Well, I'll start with very similar. I want to congratulate Public Safety Director-elect, as it was said, Tolsted. I look forward to that on Monday, that we move forward with the swearing in. I think it's appropriate to do so at our meeting. I hope that others will be here to support, as well as congratulate Captain Tolsted for his movement forward in the Public Safety Director. It's well been said, we've had many conversations here just in this term of ours and terms past, and working through all those, and at times there was I'll just say sincere and hearty discussions, and I think that had to in the end had to occur to get to where we are today. And so I want to thank both of our chiefs, Chief McCormick, for many years of service and long dedication to our community, but also your assistance in this discussion on the transition period. And it wasn't just recent; it goes back for time. So my personal thanks for that, but especially as we're coming to this point today, and input and valued information that I know was provided to the administration. Chief White, just my thanks as well for your years of service. And you think of accomplishments in everybody's career, and I know that one of his, I'll just say, prides and hard work was the development and building of the new fire station, and what that provides not only for the employees but also for the community. So everybody's career has things of which they've achieved and accomplished, and I know that sits high in his. I want to thank all those that are present here this evening. Lieutenant Smiley, for your representation, to be here as well as the police officers and PSOs are here, because today is the day that we took action as a council. Monday will come to bring things to, I'll say, fruition as we get through that day. And then that is how we start and where we go from here in the future. And I think collectively we are better, and collectively we serve our community the best. And I look forward to that. And as council, as we continue to set not just policy, but interaction and support to all of our public safety. And I won't leave out our medical response. And, while MCA isn't here and they're not part of these discussions, we understand what they provide and how all three have to be intertwined from all our departments of what we talked about in positions, and what positions in the Fitch study and we had those conversations about who is going to be specifically assigned to what and how that interacts collectively for the service of the community, because really we're all here for one reason, and our constituents are the public, and that's who we serve, and that's why we do our jobs, both as a council but also as our employees here. I'll kind of stop there and I'll move forward. Mr. Pastu, any final comments?
Again, I want to thank council for meeting tonight. We've got a full agenda of work session. I think there's been interest in the responsible bidder ordinance, and we have that on the work session scheduled, along with a review of the Tree Advisory Committee ordinance. There's a preliminary review of the capital improvements submittals from the departments to get council to start thinking about where those priorities will lie. That'll help administration start putting together some funding packages. And then also just a quick review of the downtown Christmas tree light or holiday tree lighting that's planned for mid-November. It's remarkable the donations that have been received, and so we'll have a work session presentation there as well. So I know there's a lot on the plate for everybody, and just appreciate the fact that you gave us some time tonight to move things along. So.
Before I go to see if there's any citizens' comments, I neglected to thank our city manager, Mr. Pastu, and the administration on the work on this, as well as our city attorney and labor attorney and Dykema. There was a lot that needed to be done, and there's nuances that probably weren't first, I'll say expected, but as when you talk about these complexity of these agreements and retirement opportunities, age and time of service and laws, whether it be state or federal, all those are things pop up, and you say, okay, how do we address this? So I appreciate all the time and effort to not only to do it, but get it done in a time fashion that we're doing this here this evening in preparation for next week's meeting and through the kind of conclusion of this term. So much appreciated. Thank you. Is there any other comments? Any comments from those present here this evening? Citizens' comments? Chief McCormick.
Honorable Mayor and Council, Charles McCormick, Chief of Police. I just wanted to publicly congratulate Chad. I know there's going to be a ceremony on Monday, but I'm going to find myself at an 8U championship baseball game with my son. So any of you that have been to or experienced a first-year kid pitch, it's a lot of fun, and I'll say excitement at times, but there's some long, brutal innings. But I've been to enough council meetings, so I have patience, right? So, but again, congratulate to Chad. We know this is for 70 years, my family has served the city, and the city's provided for us. So if I didn't think it was the right fit or my pick, you'd have heard. So just congratulations to him. I know he's going to do a fantastic job. And then we'll be back, or I'll be back with you on November 1st for the MACP to come down and present us with our accreditation award. So in front of council. So excited for that. And that'll be at the work session at 6 p.m. So
Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
Accreditation, I look forward to that. Something we can really celebrate and recognize. The collegiate accreditation that the department's been through before, but from the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police and the state accreditation, which really hones in on things here in the state of Michigan and is a great step forward. I think that those are conversations Personnel Committee had, as well as how do we expand that throughout our public safety, because there are programs, there are opportunities, because I think it is a positive, but it's also a positive message to our community and all the training and opportunities that are there. So thank you, Chief McCormick, for leadership on that. Other comments from those present here this evening?
Your Honor, I
Yes.
think before we adjourn, I just want to say that Michelle's not here and the meeting went really fast. So I would think maybe we should consider a new position, city attorney / city clerk.
No, I hear no motion, no second, no vote on that. Clerk Treasurer Lavoie, I do miss you here. I always I started looking to the left, I had to look back over to the right. But no, we do wish her well, of course, and jest, but I'm glad she's able to take care of her business and her family this evening and prepare us actually for this meeting. But Matt, good job, sir.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilman Moore to adjourn. Clerk, please, or City Attorney, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Germaini?
Yes.
Moore? Yes. Councilman Felder? Councilman Iko Angeli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vining.
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
And thank you all.